Okay, so in this video we are going to take the text on spot a bit further and make it better to use, and also do a center text, a little GameHud script which we can add on more text on and make pretty good use of. Usually use a game manager or a level manager. However, in my game those are pretty full of code, so I like to have a little individual piece for controlling the interface and the canvas. So this is not pretty, it's pretty ugly actually, but it's pretty much what we are going to do. As you can see, there was a little text displayed for a while here, and it's actually very simple. We're also going to have a little point system. So something like this will be the result, and of course the assets will be in the description. So let's start a new project. Okay, so I have imported the assets that was from part 1, and this is pretty much where we left off. I deleted a text on spot. I'm not sure why it was there, but there was a text on spot just freely sitting there, and I removed that. And I also added a little move me script, and sorry if you hear the cars in the background. So this is just a script. It doesn't really have anything to do with the tutorial, but it was a bit boring when I didn't mow, so I did a little script here that just moves to a certain point in one direction, then switches, moves back and forward. So you can pause here and write this off if you don't want to just get through the assets. And I am not really a programmer. I figured I'd do some videos of what I had problems with when doing my game, and maybe that will help out some other beginners in C# and Unity. So let's see here how to do this. First I am going to delete all but one. Let's keep the center one. And I actually used the other system, and I wanted to make it make it a little better than that, and you can actually improve it a lot by the GameHud, and so I haven't really done this in my own game. Instead I am doing it here, and then I will put it in my game. So here we got the click me script, and I'm going to add the move me script, which is kind of basic. I'm just gonna set the speed to 3 and the distance to 5. It's just some random numbers I come up with. Let's see how that looks. So yeah, I think that was what I used in the kind of beginning of the video. And we got moving here. So as you can see, the script starts where the object is. It doesn't follow along with the object. I guess if you want it to follow along, maybe you can parent it. That hasn't really... there isn't any lag, by the way. If you see lag, that's my recording software. And I really can't do anything about that right now. It's just my computer that isn't fast enough. Okay, so we got it moving, and I am going to start with renaming click me to enemy. And open that. I think I had it open, so it's gonna shut that down and open enemy. We need to change the class to enemy, otherwise it won't work. And yeah, that's basically it there for now, because we're going to add some health and stuff, and I'm also going to make this to only take string. It makes it a lot easier when you know how to use it. But first I am going to go to here, and not sure, but I like to do it create them in Unity. I think you can do it in assembler, or what it's called too. So I'm going to call it GameHud. You can call it whatever you like. And for now it's just going to be an empty script. So now we need a big canvas that covers the entire screen, and there also is one thing that bothers me a lot here, and that is the background color. It says it's, I'm not sure if I change that. You can have it to whatever you like, skybox, solid color, whatever. I'm just gonna make it black, and I'm also going to make this a lot smaller, like that. Instead of going through you can modify the text on spot, prefabs, however you like, to change the size. I just do this for now. I noticed that they were rather large, and I don't feel that I have the time to fix that right now. So we got the GameHud script. Now we need a canvas. I'm going to right click, and you can also do it here, create UI canvas, and I'm going to name this GameHud, and I'm going to put the GameHud script on GameHud. And now I want the screens, let's see here, not that one, I want it to scale with screen size. There we go. I think that I need to check UI here. Okay, so it's large, really large, but that's not really a problem. So should we add the score and don't really need to do that, but since I'm at this part, let's just add a text and name it score, and I can write score here. Doesn't really matter because it will be replaced with whatever you like. I'm going to center it, put it to overflow on both, and I'm going to change it to white so that I see it a little bit better. By the way, let's put it on the left side instead. This option here handles the UI stuff, so I'm gonna put it up here, and maybe a little bit in. The anchors are here in the middle. I don't really want them there because that might cause issues. It seems like it doesn't at the moment, but I'm going to put the anchors at the sides of the screen. That shouldn't give any problems here. It should scale the text. It kinda lags after a little bit, but yeah, I'm not sure why it does that. Probably the speed of my computer. So we got a score text, and now I want a center text as well, as you saw in the little introduction. That text will be very easy to use from any script in the end, so we can display like objective complete and stuff like that. I'm gonna name it center text, and center text, no, not like that, like that. Let's see. This one is really going to be centered, and I need to make it overflow, and I want it to be white just so that it is visible. You can do this for any text, by the way. Maybe you want it up in the corner or something like that and not in the center. However, I recently needed to have a center text that came up when you took an objective and said like 1 of 2 objectives complete, and then when you took the second it said objectives complete. So this is fine for now. The looks, how it looks, and font and stuff like that, that is up to you. You can change font here, but I think you have to add them to the project. So we got a little score, we got a center text, and let's go to the GameHud script and start from there again. So we got yeah, it needs to be public text, and you're gonna see that it becomes red. No, didn't want to take it, but it's not gonna work right now because we haven't put in the UI yet. So this is score, and then we got a public text center text. There we go. I'm just gonna add in the using Unity engine. No, not like that. Unity engine.ui. There we go. So now we can place our texts here. I'm gonna do that after. We're going to need both start and update. We are also going to move the text on spot over here instead. So instead of having, let's see here, instead of having this spawn text, I'm going to move this. And I can delete this. I cut and paste that, by the way, if you wonder. And I'm going to make a new public void called text on spot. And before I do something stupid and cut something else out, I'm going to cut and paste this in here, and it's going to give some errors for now. I want this to take, first of all, a string called, a string called name. And what else do we need? We need a string, this text. And what else? We need a int that is speed. I believe that, yeah, we need an int called speed. And also a transform called, let's call it OBE. So those four will be needed to call this function. That's fine. It's just the instantiate part. However, here instead of like doing it this way, I'm going to cut away all but the prefab slash and add in name. So that will be the name of the prefab that we are going to use. So if it's text on spot 1, text on spot 2, whatever, that's gonna show up here and call the correct prefab if there is one. We could do a check if it's not null. Oh, we already do that. Nope. Just check if there is a component. We don't check if this didn't exist. However, maybe it's better to get an error. In that case, we see that it's wrong somewhere. Not gonna change these, it's not really needed. And I won't need the points anymore. I'm not gonna use that. And display text will be the text that we get from here. So we take these and put in here. So text, that will be what the display text. And we're not gonna need that in text on spot script, but let's change that later. We're also going to put in the speed variable here and make that same as speed. And here is the little bit tricky part. We're going to change this to, I believe it will be obj.transforming. It seems to work, we will see that later. I'm not great with positions. I believe that is, it will take the transform that it gets from here and put the text there. So I'm saving this. There is one more thing though that is rather important. Since there will be a lot of functions in this script, that I could just do this like a static, but I want to be able to get all of them. So I'm going to write public static GameHud. And I'm kinda used to just using instance, so I'm gonna use that. This is the name, so when you call it. And I believe that you type And we need an awake function now. I'm sorry if I'm too fast. When I see other tutorials, I'm also having trouble follow along because they are too fast, and now I'm probably doing the same thing, except that I write rather slow. Let's see here. So we need an awake function. Void awake, and this will be done before everything else here. And I will type instance, which is this here, and I will write equals to this. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not completely sure what this does, but I guess it takes about everything. The end result is that we can use this from any script and call text on spot. So I'm going to copy this part here, save GameHud, go over to enemy, and when we click on enemy, I still want to display the text. Right now, I can show that. Right now it won't do anything at all. Oh, it will still show the center text though, but as you can see, nothing happens because we are not calling it. So instead, we'll take this and grayed out. Let's keep that. That's the ref. That's my reference to what this function will need. So if I forget, I can easily see that at once. It doesn't actually do anything when it's grayed out. It's ignored by the code. The code is ignored rather. Let's see here. So to call this now, we can write GameHud dot instance, which is this. If you have taken like GameHud and then GameHud with small letters, then you will have to type GameHud.GameHud. GameHud.instance, the text on spot, which is the text on spot function in GameHud, and it will need a name, and that will be text on spot. That is the prefab. Then it will need a text script, and let's see here. This is where we have to kind of modify our scripts a little bit. So if this enemy doesn't have a text on it, let's say like it only have points, then I can modify that a little bit by a simple, what's it called, formatting. So this is a string, and I could just do like this and plus points. Why doesn't it find that? Well, I'm not sure why. Points to give to player. I could do like that, or I should be able to. It's probably because the line isn't completed yet. It's kind of bothering me a bit. Oh well, we could do like this, like a hack, and override that a little bit. Let's write the rest and go back to that instead. Speed, I want the speed to be 1, and the transform object will be game. No, this is a little bit tricky because game object, at least it was last time, dot transform. I believe that is how it should look. And this here, this is where we kind of format how we want this text to look when it comes out in the other end. And right now it will just display the points. And this is a little bit of a hack. We could also do to string like that, and it will also just display the points. But since there is points in this yeah, why is it points anyway? Don't need to show. Let's change that to damage. Like, just so it sounds a little bit better. Damage. So I want to display the damage. And this should actually be given from another script, but since this is a rather simple tutorial, I'm just putting it in the enemy script and do a constant damage each time I click. So I want to show damage, and that should probably be a minus. So right now I'm showing a minus, and I can add plus damage, and then I can add that will show the int that is damage, and then I will add a little, I'm not sure what these are called in English. Anyway, that will add this part will look like, let's take it here, it will look like this. Like if there is 50 damage, it will look like that when it comes out. So here we'll be able to configure it however we like and with whatever stats we like this way. And then we are putting in the speed and then the position, which is game object will be this game object that we are calling from. So we are sending the position from the game object we are on to the text on spot script and putting the text on spot script on the same position. So we should now, if I haven't done anything wrong, we should now get let's inactivate this for now. It's very small, so you can't really see it. I'm also going to change this to something more fun, like battleship. Let's see here. So there should be a damage variable. Let's say every time we click this, it takes 25 damage. Whoa, zoomed in. There we go. So now it says 25 damage. If we have a part where, let's say it's a heal instead, then you can just take this text here and change to whatever you like. It's very, very easy to handle. And it's all done by the GameHud, so any script can now send this to GameHud and call text on spot instead of doing it like we did earlier. But I'm gonna keep the minus, and I knew that text on spot here that I'm calling, I knew that was red because I believe I saved it like that for some reason. When I exported the assets, it was red. I thought I removed that, but it was there. So that's kind of improving the text on spot script. And of course, since we are completely removing the display, the int, this will no longer be needed. And we can do like this. If display text is not empty, null, then it should put the text into the little text script there. So let's see that it still works. Yeah, I didn't do it last time, so I'm still improving it. Okay, so now we got the text on spot, and there are a couple of more things to do here in the GameHud. We do have the score, so let's make a public void called add points. It will take an int called points. And when you call this function, it's going to add the text to the score. Let's see here which is the best way to do that. Maybe we need to do, we probably need to make a total point. We can make it private for now. Int total score, And when we add points, we want to add the points that we get from another script into the total score. So let's see here, total score plus equals to points, which is the points we get in. And then we need to update the text. So we could update the text in like update and it does it each frame, but to save a little bit of performance there, or what you call it, I will do this each time it gets points instead. So I'm going to set score.text, which means that it's this one, score, and the text will be equal to, and we also need to set everything that will be written, otherwise it will just be the points as an example. So I'm going to write score colon and a space plus total score. So that should now, if we call this, add points to the total score and update the score. We can't really, however, use this yet. Let's do this pretty simple. Let's add a public int called health, which will be the health of the object. We might want to preset this if we're doing new ones. So health equals 100. And damage equals, let's do 20. Like that. And so when we click, it's going to take damage. So it's going to be health minus equals damage. And let's see here. We could do so that this text is not displayed if it gets destroyed that time, but I'm just gonna write if health less or equal to 0, then destroy game object with a small g in the beginning there. And I am, before it gets destroyed, I am going to type GameHud dot instance dot add points, which is the function that we added that takes points. And in there I am actually going to need another public int points to give. Let's call it like that. Let's say it adds like something like 50. That's a little bit. Let's add 5 points when this is destroyed. So then I just write points to give, and that will go to GameHud, call this function here, and add points to the score. So if we go here now, it's probably going to complain if we start it because we haven't actually put these in yet, and now it's calling score, so we're going to have to put score in there. And might as well put center text in center text. Notice that it is set active false up here, and it's going to be that because we are going to change the set active to hide and show the text, which is a really easy way to do it. So now this object here should have health of 100, takes 25 damage each time, and it should give 5 points. So if I click here, it will say minus 25, and you can see that the health went down because each time we click it takes down the life, and there it got destroyed and we got 5 in score here. So let's duplicate this. Let's make 3. This is not gonna look very well because they will move the exact same way with this script. So there we got 5 points, and there we got 10 points, and now we got 15 points. So that's a pretty simple way with health and doing a little score by using the GameHud here, the instance. And now for a little bit more complicated part will be the center text. It's not really hard, but it's a little bit trickier. So public void show center text, and it will take a string that is text. Let's just write small because I did that on the other ones. Text, and it will also take an int that is time. So when we use this, we will have to put a text that we want to show and a time. And we are going to need a private void. This doesn't need to be public unless you want it to be public and use it from somewhere else. Hide center text. And for now, for now it's just going to be empty. So the first thing we want to do is make a couple of variables up here. Let's do it like this. A private bool, which is kind of on-off a switch. We are going to use it as an on-off switch. Center text on. That's gonna call it that, and it will be false in the beginning. And let's make sure that it actually is always false. So I'm going to set it center text on false in the beginning. This is probably not necessary, but why not? And I'm also going to make sure that center text is always switched off by set active. So I can take center text dot game object, which is the game object that is center text, dot set active false. This will make sure that even if you have it on in the editor, it won't be on when the game starts. And I'm going to copy and paste these two, put them here, and instead I'm going to write true in center text on and true in game object set active. And before these two, I want to take center text dot text equals text. And the text is the text that it gets from here, the small text. So it kind of looks kind of confusing, but center text, the text of center text will be the text that comes from here. And the time, we could use the same timer, but maybe we want different timers in the future. Center text timer equals time. So I haven't really set. Oh wait, this here I wrote an int, but that's supposed to be a float, otherwise it's gonna be a little bit strange. So we need this up here as well. It can be private float center text time, and let's put it like 2 seconds by default, and since it's a float it will need a f here at the end. The good part with floats is that you can type like 0.2 and have a kind of decimal point there, which int won't have. So what this does is that it puts center text on, and it puts a text and a time, and it activates the game object. So to use this, because right now it just activates it, we need to take the center text here and put in update. So this is done each frame, and we're going to set if center text on, and when we check if this is on or off, we need to use two equal signs there and not that. Like this. If center text on equals true, then we will do this. And we will take time. No. Time. No. Maybe it's called center text time. Like that. Oh my god, what the hell. Center text time equals time dot delta time. And it also needs to be a minus. So center text time minus equals time dot delta time. That will make it gets how long it should be from here, puts it into time, and then this will count from that time down. So let's make another if statement. If center text time is equal or is less or equal to 0. I believe that's the correct way. I don't think you can do that way. No, you can't. Not a programmer. Then we will use hide center text. So what hide center text will do is basically the exact same thing as here. So I just cut and paste that, except that it's going to set the text to nothing, and this isn't really needed, but I guess we can, like, just in case, just set it to 0. And then we have center text on is equal to false, because we are going to shut off this function here, the bool. And center text game object set active false. So that should inactive. We could do it the other way around, so that it disappears before it does that. Maybe it should be done on the same frame, but oh well. So that should handle our little function to show the center text how long we want, and that we are going to do here. GameHud dot instance dot show center text, and it wants a text, and I could write any text I want here, and then it needs a time, and let's take 2f. I think you still need to write the f. Let's just try that out. So when it dies, when health is 0, it should show the center text for 2 seconds. Yep, seems to work. And if I destroy 2, it just replaces that one. And that might be a little bit boring, do it that way, just with any text. So here, I can just write a reminder here that will be in the ref text time. There we go. Just to have it a little bit easier. Or we can just use time. So yeah, this is a little bit boring. So we're gonna add was destroyed here, and this is like the one up here. You can kind of make it however you like. So I'm going to take game object dot name plus, and what that does is that it takes the name of this game object and adds was destroyed behind it. So if we do this now, it will say Battleship 2 was destroyed because why? What? Battleship 1, 2, isn't it 3? Okay. Okay, so the center one is the okay, so that's the Battleship was destroyed. Battleship 2 was destroyed. Battleship 1 was destroyed. And we got 15 points. So that's one way to do center text. And you can do this with actually any text. You could have it like up here and show there. Just add in a little bit of functions, add more text, like how much health the player have, and build on the GameHud. It's important that it's not really that important since we did build in security there, but it's quite annoying to have the center text always on. Double click that. I like to have a text on. You could just leave it like this and then it won't be visible. But I like to have a text on so that I see how the kind of interface looks. Maybe we want some zeros before the... I didn't do that last time, but we could do that. That could be done here as well in GameHud. So we could configure how the score should look here. Let's see here. So before score, if total score is less than 100, let's say 100, and where do we have those? Don't use them very often. There we go. Well, actually I do use them very often, but my keyboard is rather worn down. It doesn't show the sign there. Or if it's less than 100 or more than 0. No, that won't work at all. And I also need to add total score here. More than 9. We need to make it more than 9. So this will be, since it's less, it's going to count from 99. And since it's more, it's going to count from 10. So we want an X. If it's more than 10, then it's going to use double digits. Let's see here, I'm thinking, didn't do this last time. Let's see here, and add. Yeah, it's going to be like that. Like let's just add 1 0. And else if total score is less than 10 and total score more than 0, that means that it's from 1. Probably don't need to do it that way, but I'm just gonna do it that way anyway. So that means that it is below 10. It counts from 9, so we're going to need 2 digits in front of the text. and else if total score, maybe you want to not display anything at all, is equal to 0, is less or equal to 0, if it gets like a minus number for some reason, then it should show, I cut and paste that by the way, then it should show like 3 zeros. Okay, so let's see if that works. Not sure. So the score is not updated at start. We could do that by using the add points function here in awake, or we could just set the text manually. And I'm gonna set the text score.text equals score.000. So there we go, in awake. Okay, now score is 000, and of course you can expand that, and there are probably better ways to do it, but now it's 005, and now it's 010, and 015, so it kind of keeps tracks on the zeros. It's a very simple way to do it. And is there anything else that I missed that I did in the other one? I don't think so. I think this this kind of, I hope I explained properly how to use the static here. I can't really explain it that much, but the GameHud that I use it's very handy if you're, especially if you're new to, like I am, to making game, and it's a rather small game. I bet that if you make a advanced and large game, that there might be a lot of better ways to do this, and there might be performance issues or something like that. I'm not sure. However, my scripts kind of communicate this way, so I have a level manager and I have a GameHud, and the level manager can call functions here, and actually any script can, and then they kind of communicate between each other, and I think it works pretty well. And this, I really like the enemy name. I didn't rename it to enemy last time. This is great. Just calling one line and it does exactly the same thing as last time, but better. So I hope that helped, and you should find the assets if you just want to copy the stuff in the description. However, do import them in a new project, because I don't think they are sorted, so they don't kind of mix along with your other stuff. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.